Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome to the post-show wrap-up of the Shrimp Tank, coming to you from the Business Accelerant Studio. I'm Brad Berger, along with my co-host Dan Whedon. Our guest today is Matt Albee with 11 Winery. We just had an intriguing and fun conversation with Matt. To listen to the entire podcast, visit shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle or through iHeartRadio. You can still subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, and we're always interested in your feedback, so please do not forget to rate us. So one of the things that really caught my attention during our conversation, Matt, was you used the term accidental entrepreneur. Could you expand a little bit about how you feel that you became or that you are an accidental entrepreneur?
Well, I really wanted to make wine, and so I went to my local winery and offered to help out, and knew right away that was what I had to do with the rest of my life, and pretty much started producing wine commercially within a few weeks of that. I figured that, as long as I made great wine, that people would line up to buy it. Turns out it doesn't work that way. If you want to be in business, you have to do marketing and sales and finance and all sorts of other things. And so having jumped into the deep end of the pool, I just kept swimming and trying to learn to swim better as I went. I made it. I didn't drown. So I wouldn't recommend that method of going into business. I think if you're going to go into business, you should really take the time to educate yourself and find a partner, somebody who can balance out your strengths with other strengths. But we're still here and still married, so I'm calling it a win.
Yeah, but it's that underlying passion, doing something you love, that is really what drives that.
That's the only way that I made it through and was able to, work the long hours and the late nights and go without an income for many years, because I knew that this was what I was meant to do.
Awesome.
Well, part of, I think, what has made 11 so successful is your mission. And I'm fascinated by what you believe your mission is and how that's become very philanthropic and community-based. Can you share with our viewers a little bit about what 11 Winery's mission is?
Sure. Our mission is to make great wine, make it fun, and make the world a better place. Making great wine, that's fairly easy to understand what that's about. Making it fun, we want to make sure that everybody enjoys their wine experience, whether or not they're a wine expert or whether they're completely new to wine. They can come to our bar if they've never had a glass of wine before. And that's one of my favorite things, when we get somebody brand new to wine and we can show them about swirl, sniff, and sip. I learned early on that starting a small business was so much work. And it seemed like there was never going to be enough financial reward to make that amount of work worthwhile. And at the same time, we were raising a family and wanted to, instill in our kids the sense of the privilege that they had just by being born on Bainbridge Island and living in the United States, and showing them the responsibility to help others who are less fortunate. And we wanted to remain living on Bainbridge Island, and we didn't have a ton of money to throw into philanthropic efforts ourselves, so we decided that we would devote the winery to a philanthropic basis itself. And so we decided that we would give a portion of profits to charity. And so we continue to do that today. And my goal in continuing to grow the winery, and we've been growing steadily since 2003, is to be able to increase that impact throughout the world.
Well, there's two things there. Number one, by listening to the podcast, you'll figure out where on the spectrum I fit of either expert or probably need some lessons from visiting Matt. But you mentioned Bainbridge Island, and I think it's really important that we ask the following question, and that is, what is it about Bainbridge Island that makes it special for wines?
I think Bainbridge Island is one of the best places in Washington State for wine touring and tasting. It's a beautiful 30-minute ferry ride from downtown Seattle. You can walk on the ferry and walk to several tasting rooms right there in Winslow. You can bring a car and you can visit the 7 wineries that are scattered around the island and meet the winemakers. And you can taste the full diversity of Washington State wine right there within a few square miles. We've got grapes that are grown on the island, which are cool climate varieties from northern France and Germany. And you can taste wines made from grapes that are grown all over Washington State, from Walla Walla to the Yakima Valley to Red Mountain to the Horse Heaven Hills. We've got the entire diversity of Washington wine right there on Bainbridge Island.
Well, great, Matt. Thank you for joining us. How can our listeners who want to learn more about 11 Winery and Bainbridge, as far as the wine tours, how can they get in touch with you?
You can find us online at 11winery.com, or you can visit the website for the Winery Alliance at bainbridgewineries.com, or you can find us on Facebook.
Well, once again, this is just a taste. Hey, just a taste
nice.
Of what you can expect by listening to the entire podcast. Visit shrimptankpodcast.com/Seattle or listen to us on iHeartRadio. You can always subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, and we would love to hear from you, so please do not forget to rate us. Thanks to all of our Shrimp Peeler sponsors and to you, our listeners and followers.
Our next show from the Business Accelerant Studio will be 2 weeks from now, Wednesday, August 7th, when our guest will be Chris Henriksen with Lewis Funeral Chapel. We hope you will join us then, because for right now, the hay is in the barn.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small